Luxury auto. What is it known for? Premium materials, powerful engines, and cutting-edge tech? But sometimes, even the most prestigious names decide to chase budget buyers. And the results? Well, let's just say that they don't always live up to the badge. Today, I'm ranking 4 times luxury brands went econo mode and released, small hatchbacks from worst to best. Enjoy. Imagine walking into a Cadillac dealership in the 1980s, expecting a big, comfortable luxury car, and instead you get a rebadged Cavalier with a higher price tag. That's the Cadillac Cimarron, a car that nearly ruined Cadillac's reputation in one move. The Cimarron had a 1.8-liter inline-4 making 88 horsepower, and no, that is not a typo, it had 88 horsepower. Although later they upgraded it to a 2.8-liter V6 making a whopping 125 horsepower, similar to the F1 cars and NASCARs at the time. A 5-speed manual was optional, but most buyers got the 3-speed auto, which got scared every time somebody said the word shift. It did 0 to 60 in 13 seconds. The interior? Cadillac tried their best with a wood trim and leather seats, but the dashboard still looked like it came straight out of a Chevy economy car. And the worst part? Cadillac charged more than double the price of the Cavalier for this thing. The Cimarron was such a failure that Cadillac swore off rebadging economy cars, for a few years. When you think of BMW, you think of precision-engineered sports sedans and autobahn-dominating M cars. But in the 50s, BMW was nearly bankrupt. And their solution? The Isetta. A tiny, refrigerator-like 3-wheeled car that looked more like a washing machine on wheels than a driver's car. It had a single-cylinder engine making 12 horsepower. It came with a 4-speed manual and rear-wheel drive, so I guess it was technically sporty. But its top speed was 53 miles per hour, so good luck keeping up on the Autobahn. The whole front end opened up as like a big door, which was cool until you parked it too close to a wall and were just kind of stuck in there. Inside, there was barely anything. 2 seats, a speedometer, and a steering wheel. No radio, no air conditioning, not even a fuel gauge. You had to check the gas with a dipstick. But despite all of this, the Isetta actually saved BMW, selling well enough to keep the company alive until they could get back into making real cars. Aston Martin. The brand of hand-built V12s, jaw-dropping designs, and James Bond movies decided to release a rebadged Toyota city car. The Cygnet was meant to help Aston meet EU emissions targets, but it instead just kinda confused everyone. It had a 1.3-liter Toyota inline-4, making 97 horsepower and 92 foot-pound of torque. It had a 0 to 60 time of 11.8 seconds, which means you'll be seeing a lot of taillights, and a CVT that made every acceleration attempt sound like a dying blender. And despite it being an Aston, it was actually front-wheel drive. Aston Martin did try to justify the $50,000 price tag with a luxurious interior, hand-stitched leather, aluminum accents, a decent sound system, you get it. But at the end of the day, it was a Toyota IQ in a fancy suit. The worst part? The Cygnet wasn't even much more powerful than the regular Toyota version. If you wanted to spend Porsche Cayman money on a glorified commuter car, Aston Martin has you covered. Okay, so hear me out. Yes, this was a cheap Mercedes hatchback, but compared to the other cars on this list, it was actually kinda cool. The first-gen Mercedes A-Class was designed to be a small, fuel-efficient city car, but Mercedes still engineered it with some actual innovation. It had a 1.4-liter to 1.9-liter inline-4 engine that made up to 125 horsepower at the most powerful version. It had a 5-speed manual or a CVT, depending on how much suffering you wanted in your life, and it was front-wheel drive. But it was actually surprisingly nimble for its, stature. It had a 0 to 60 time from about 9 seconds, which is actually not terrible for an 125 horsepower car. The A-Class wasn't powerful, but it was super practical, with a high roofline and a ton of interior space for such a small car. Mercedes also made a minivan-like version called the Veneo that sold terribly, plus it still felt like it designed to a luxury brand. The Mercedes, good job on this one. So folks, there you have it. 4 times luxury car makers tried to go budget, and well, let's just say it didn't always work out. Which one do you think was the worst? Let me know in the comments. I'm also totally open to video ideas, so if you have any good ideas that you want me to make a video on, then please let me know and I'll, make a video. Thank you, and bye.